I know how you feel, dude. You're probably going a little bit faster than I've been going today. Morning, everybody. Oh no, 15 minutes into my ride. My legs haven't got working yet. I want to thank everyone, the 450 of you or so now that watched my ride around St. Charles last week. Thank you so much. It is a boost, you know, when you see people liking. But I forgot to say, until like halfway through that video, like and subscribe. Do me the honor. Like and subscribe the channel. I'm trying to get it off the ground, trying to get it working. Hoping to keep it growing a little bit, because I do enjoy doing it. I'm learning a lot about cycling, about video editing and camera work and what works and what doesn't work. So first of all, thank you very much. And second of all, leave me a comment. I'm going to drop some questions through the video. But first of all is, when you go out cycling, how long does it take your legs to warm up? Because it feels like for the first 5 miles or so after leaving my house, that my legs are dead. My legs are dead. Well, my legs are dead anyway, because I didn't ride Wednesday and I felt guilty about it. I had things to do, which we'll get to later on. But I had things to do Wednesday, and Wednesday's usually my day of happiness where I get out on my bike. And I felt guilty about it, so I went to the gym yesterday. I did a bunch of leg presses and whatnot. And obviously using a leg press, you use a bunch of different muscles, and I got some muscle soreness today. So, but anyway, I don't know, guys, maybe 10 o'clock in the morning right now. A balmy fall morning here in St. Louis County. I'm on the Bush Greenway right now. I'm on the Bush Greenway at Missouri Research Park. There's a US 40, I-64 behind me. I'm heading towards, I don't know, again, no route, don't have my GPS, but it's getting to the stage now. I really don't need my GPS. If I just want to go for a ride, I know enough of the safe roads, I know enough of the trails locally to just get by if I want to go out for a 50-60 mile ride where I don't really need my GPS anymore. But what I'm finding though is that I'm covering old ground. So yeah, anywho, drop me a note. How long does it take your legs to warm up in the morning? Because as I'm getting older, it seems to take longer. Might head east towards St. Charles. I haven't decided yet. I might turn off and do the Creve Lake. Might just head straight into St. Charles, grab a bite to eat, see how it goes. I need to do that book review thing again. Got lots to talk about today. It's been a week. But I got a good book review. So, but I might say it on the Katy trail when I'm not by the road and the gravel's a bit more compact, and I don't have to feel like I'm shouting. Love the Hamburg trail though. Absolutely perfect. Underused as well. Love it. So I'm doing a book review. This is Pro Cycling on $10 a Day by Phil Guyman. I love Phil Guyman. I love the guy. I've followed him on Twitter for years now. I'm going to use a soccer term but I think he's a second division player. You know, he didn't quite, you know, reach the Premier League echelons or the MLS, save a couple of years. But as a big soccer fan like myself, I could see the parallels between what he was going through as a domestic cyclist on the domestic tour in the US to what some of my friends who play in USL were going through, and how much they have to live on. And I could draw the parallels to that. And, you know, it was a bit eye-opening. You know, it's not, you know, when people say, you know, soccer players or cyclists, they're on millions a year, they're not. You know, 99.9% are living on ramen noodles, and like Phil, they were living out the car. But one of the things about the book was that he uses the term a lot, if and when he's ever killed by a car, to politicize his death. And that leads me into today, because it's been a week, guys. We had that guy in Texas, a 16-year-old kid, doing a coal roll past a group of guys training for a triathlon, and he smashed into 6 of them, you know, by trying to blast past them, blowing exhaust smoke at him. He's 16, driving a pickup truck. I mean, I get that it's Texas. And then you've got that assistant coach. It was an NFL assistant coach, can't remember the team he was with, but he was killed in an accident. And they're calling it an accident, you know? It wasn't an accident, it was a vehicular homicide. You know, even if there's an airline crash, you call it pilot error. And, you know, he loses his license. But we seem to have a flagrant disregard for cyclists in this country. And the culture has to change. And, you know, there's that prevailing myth that, oh, you don't pay taxes. Well, do I? Do I not? Do I not? I've got 2 cars. I've got a job. Wife's got a job. Got a house. Pay property taxes. She just bought a new Mazda. You know, she just bought a new Mazda, and I had to register it at the DMV. And the sales tax was $2,500 on the car. So don't sit there and say, I don't pay taxes. You know, because otherwise I'm on the phone with the IRS because they owe me a bloody big refund. You know? And yeah, I don't use gas. I don't need gas. You know, Missouri just raised its tax on gas today, 2.5%, which I'm okay with. You know, anyone in Missouri knows that. It's hard to see the lines on the interstate when you're driving at night when it's raining. You know, if it gets mowed out some better paint, I'm all for it. You know, the roads here suck. The infrastructure sucks. You know, but that's the thing. You know, the roads are so crappy, no one pays for roads. The road tax wasn't enough. And you pay for road tax for the maintenance and upkeep of your roads. And cars, predominantly trucks, are the ones that damage the roads. You know, I'm not out cycling when there's 3 foot of snow. I don't need the roads when there's ice. You need the roads. You, Mr. Car Driver. That's what you're paying for. You know, don't tell me I don't pay tax. Don't tell me I don't maintain the roads. I don't pay my fair share. It's bullshit. And if that fallacy had a modicum of truth, if that fallacy had a modicum of credibility, I've also got a CDL, and I can also drive a big rig. And big rigs pay a hell of a lot more road tax and permit fees and interstate fees and interstate fuel tax than you do. So by that logic, can I run you off the road in your shitty little Toyota Corolla? No, I'd go to jail and I'd lose my job. The same has to apply to people that think they can run cyclists off the road. Our legislators need to get a grip of the lackadaisical protections afforded to other road users. It's a disgrace. So anyway, yeah, buy Phil Guyman's book, Pro Cycling on $10 a day. There's also a sequel called Draft Animals, when he gets the nod to go up to the Garmin Sharp team in the Pro Tour. But anyway, I got my soapbox. There. I started talking about the lackadaisical ambivalence that Americans have to cyclists, and it's a disgrace. And I don't care that you have to brake to go around us. That's a you problem, not a me problem. I'll shut up about it now because it'll set me off again. Because this is pretty and I need to enjoy it. So what's your names first of all?
Joe.
Joe and
Joe.
Joe and Joe.
He's JB, I'm JP.
All right, and you're doing the Katy, and you've come from Clinton. You said how many? What day is this?
Today is our 5th day.
5th day, and you're going all the
on Monday.
You going all the way to Mackins, or are you just calling it St. Charles?
St. Charles.
Okay, there's not much up past Mackins. And where are you from originally?
Northern Michigan.
City. Traverse City, no way.
True.
I lived for 5 years in a place called Manistee.
Oh yeah.
I know Manistee well.
Yeah, I mean, I you know, it's not a place I'm willing to go back in February. I mean, going back in this time of year is not too bad.
You're a
but,
wussy.
I you know what I am, because I'm originally from England, and I moved to the US in November, on November the 4th. It snowed on November the 8th, and I didn't see the ground again until April.
That's correct.
Yeah, and
I remember.
You got the right spot.
but you know, it's just like 9 months of winter and 3 months of bad sledding.
It hasn't happened again though.
Yeah. So
Not since then.
but there's a lot of good trails up there.
Oh yeah. Awesome.
I mean, I used to live by Holden Powell Dam, and you know, I used to do a lot of hiking up there and again camping, obviously, and there's the North Country Trail. It's a beautiful country.
Yeah.
And what other trails have you done apart from, you know, this case here? What other bikepacking trips have you done?
I did the Natchez Trace. He and I and a friend did the Gap.
Oh, from Pittsburgh to DC.
DC.
Yeah, cool beans.
I've done Ohio to Erie, all the way down from Lake Erie to Cincinnati. Yeah, not that many.
Okay, but still more than me.
Yeah.
Way more than me.
I did from Telluride to Moab.
Oh man.
Beautiful.
Hut to hut.
Beautiful trail. Yeah. System.
I did a road trip with my kids. I got 3 kids, and we were supposed to go to England this summer, and the flight all got cancelled, and we would have had to do loads of tests and COVID tests and stuff. So we cancelled that, and we had 2 weeks spare, and we drove out west. We went to Moab, and I'm driving, like I just crossed into from Colorado into Utah, and I'm seeing all the gravel roads and stuff, and I'm like, oh, man, I wish I brought my bike, you know. And you know, with the kids, it's not like the wife was ever going to let me just go rent a bike and, you know, go off and disappear for the day. But
Right.
all right, well, enjoy your ride, and welcome to Missouri.
Yeah, thank you.
So there they go off in the distance, the 2 Joes from Traverse City, Michigan. I am slightly envious, not gonna lie. So how cool was that? That was the Joes from Northern Michigan. Slightly envious, not gonna lie. Slightly envious that they've taken 5-6 days, you know, with travel and everything to get down here, and right from Clinton to they're going to St. Charles, which basically is the eastern terminus. I know it goes, you know, for another 10 miles or so to Mackins, but there's not much in Mackins, you know, other than a pit toilet and a railway line. You know, there used to be a grocery store in Portage Pursuit, but that's gone now. But very, very envious of what the 2 Joes have done. Not just this trip, but the other trips they've done on the Allegheny Passage and the Erie to Cincinnati trail. You know? Nice to interview them, talk to someone. I mean, I'm a bit of a solitary cat. Not gonna lie, when I do my rides, I'm on my own and doing my own thing, but it's nice to stop and chat to those two guys. Got a new cycling jersey. I was playing a lot of Pro Cycling Manager on the PC. I got it from Steam a couple of months ago. I've been hitting that pretty hard recently, and one of the teams I was managing was Ribble Well-Tight, and Ribble is a bike manufacturer from Northern England in Preston. So Northern England represent. I wanted to get the jersey. I was really impressed with it. I like the bikes, honestly. You know, if I could find a way to get fitted for one, my next bike would probably be a Ribble Endurance. There's no way though the wife's gonna let me buy another bike. You know, it's kind of bizarre because I've got 3 bikes. I've got the hybrid, the Salsa Journeyman that I've got right now, that I'm riding right now, and my Trek road bike. And you know, it costs so much money. It does, and it's not just the bikes. You know, in the last couple of months, I've replaced the handlebars. I bought bike bags. I've bought a new stem for my road bike. I got a new helmet. Remember that when I got the blue helmet, which I've really stopped wearing because I don't quite trust it. I got these new bibs, these beautiful Specialized Roubaix bibs that are so much comfier. You know, it's always something. It's always something. I've got a creaking pedal. I'm gonna have to get some new pedals. You know, it's a non-stop expensive hobby, this. You know, I said to the wife, oh, it's a cheap hobby once you've bought the bike. Well, no, not really. You know, a couple of months ago I did that, well, a couple of weeks ago, I did that moonlight ramble with my buddy Calvin. And Calvin's totally the opposite way. He will not buy anything because he doesn't want to go down that rabbit hole. Just sit here all day and watch people ride past on their bikes and seeing what they've got. Anyway, my buddy Calvin, he doesn't want to go down that rabbit hole. He says, if I was to get clips, then I need special shoes. Then once I got special shoes, I start looking the part and I'll get bibs. And then I'll need a cycling jersey. You know, then I'll need this, then I'll need that, and then I'll need some Oakleys. And, you know, it is a rabbit hole you don't want to fall through because it does end up costing a fair amount of money. But I love this hobby though. And I've talked a lot today, and I was so glad to meet the Joes from Traverse City. You know, I've only done 23 miles so far. I've been out 2 hours. You know, just taking it slow, meander, and talking to people. At that Greens Bottom Road, we had like a school field trip all out on their bikes. That was cool to see, getting the kids involved with the bikes. That was really awesome to see. You know, and it should be on the curriculum. You know, go out for a field trip. Go ride your rail trails. You know, they're here to be used. Go. Somebody has to teach cycling safety. You know, fair play to them. I was really impressed when I saw that. Get kids understanding the freedom that bicycles afford. You know, getting somewhere on your own power, on your own energy, on your own 2 legs is magical. So this is St. Charles, where the Lewis and Clark expedition set. I don't think it set off from here. But it came through on the evening of May 16th, 1804, as they awaited the arrival of Captain Lewis and his dog Seaman. Nice little statue. Tried to find a place to eat on Main Street, and nothing really grabbed me. There was Llewellyn's, which is my go-to, but you know, I had to go inside and get seated, and then I wanted to sit back around the back, and you know, there was no place to really leave my bike, even if I wanted to just run inside. So I kind of left Main Street. It was full of tourists and people looking for antiques and stuff, which is cool. But I cycled up to Frenchtown, and there's this neat little French cafe patisserie place, and it's over the road from the foreign car import sales and service place, and they've got a hippie van there. Just look at that little hippie van at the back with the white roof. Oh man, I so want that. I'm gonna go have to check that out. So I rode on the road to the family arena, and then I kind of jumped back on the Katy trail just for a little bit, just to get me over the river. I'm not 100% positive how the junction is to get over the Page Extension Bridge. It's quite a busy road, that. I don't want to be having to cross like 6 lanes of traffic on my bike, and I know it's easier to get across this bridge from the Katy trail. All right, so we're gonna try and film this one-handed going up these switchbacks. There's the Page Extension Bridge. It's gonna go take us over the Missouri River. And let's see if I can do this. I'm gonna drop down a couple of gears because we're gonna go up the switchbacks. Keep going. You got this. Not quite sure about that, whether I do got this or not. I mean, granted, it's no I'll do as. Again, shame about the traffic noise. That is a big river. I say that every time I cycle over it, past it. When I see it, just astounds me I live near this thing. Alright, let's head to Creve Lake. Okay, Creve Lake Trail. Last did this, I don't know, back in March maybe? It's probably the first nice day of the year. Back in March. Busy trail, good trail. 3 miles around the lake. We'll see the lake in a bit. But I want to go back to something I mentioned earlier about spending money on this hobby. Because another thing I did was get a proper tow hitch put on the back of my car. I do have a pretty rubbish tow hitch. And I just don't trust it. You know, I just don't trust it to hold my bike. You know, I spend a lot of money on these bikes. I don't want them falling off my car on the interstate. So I bit the bullet and I went to U-Haul and I got me a tow hitch installed. But I need a bike rack now. So what bike rack do you recommend? Because I find that in this hobby, if you buy cheap, you buy twice. You buy something cheap, it falls apart, it breaks, it doesn't quite do what you want, and you end up having to buy a proper, you know, a proper piece of equipment for what you need. So, you know, I could buy a cheap bike rack, but I suspect at the end of the day I'm going to end up buying a Yakima or a Quat or a Fuel. But which do you like? You let me know in the comments. I mean, how gorgeous is this? You can see why this is a heavily used trail here in St. Louis County. I've come here, rode around at night, and there's people still walking at 10:30 at night, pitch black. And it is very well heavily used. Maybe not so much on a Friday afternoon, but I guarantee tomorrow it's gonna be packed. You hear that on my pedal? Squeaky McSqueak. Again, I bought cheap pedals off Amazon. Now I'm gonna have to go back and buy proper Shimano SBD clips instead. Buy cheap, buy twice. All right, just come off the Centennial Greenway, which is behind me, and not quite sure what this road is. Oh, Old Highway 94. Let me be totally honest with you, I'm not a fan of this road at all. It's not a quiet, tranquil farm road. All right, so just turned off Old 94, came all the way down from the Centennial Greenway down to Central School Road in St. Peters. Was not a fan of riding that at all. That was the reason why I ride quiet farm roads, I suppose. Anyway, it's time to go home. You know, I'm just going to go down Central School Road over Kiska, take Highway N into Cottleville, and then swing a left on Motherhead Road, and then basically I'm back in Weldon Spring. But yeah, not a bad day. I'm at, I don't know, 52 miles for the day. Probably be around 57 by the time I get home. I go around my neighborhood for a couple of miles, try and get the metric century in, but I'll still sleep tonight whether I get that or not, either way. But yeah, time to go home. Alright guys, this is it. Whew, today was a bit of a struggle. Don't know why, but got the miles in my legs at least. Last little downhill before I hit my subdivision. Please like and subscribe the videos, and please leave comments, especially about the questions I asked, and we'll do it all again next week.